Hello y'all, this is Total War Warhammer 3, and in this video I'm going to show you all the units Kislev has available to them in their roster, with the exception of one unit I will talk about later. This video is going to be broken down by different unit categories, so with that said, let's begin with the infantry. Infantry unit number 1, the Armored Khazars. They are pistol and axe infantry, and they have the characteristics / attributes armored and shielded and special ranged weapon. Next, we have the Armored Khazars Great Weapons. This unit is classified as pistol and great mace infantry. They have the characteristics armored, armor-piercing melee, and special ranged weapon. Infantry unit number 3 is the Tsar Guard. They are armored and shielded sword infantry. The final infantry unit is the Tsar Guard with great weapons. They are great sword infantry who have the characteristics armored, armor-piercing, and anti-infantry. The next group of units we are going to cover are the missile infantry, which Kislev has quite a large variety of, relatively speaking anyway. The first missile infantry unit we have are the Khazars, who are seen by the game as bow and axe infantry. So technically they are a hybrid unit, but they are weak against armor. The next unit we are looking at are Khazars, but with spears. They are missile and spear infantry, who in terms of characteristics are a hybrid unit, anti-large, and weak against armor. Next, we have the Streltsy, who are gun great axe infantry. Yes, they're guns or axes, and vice versa. They have the attributes hybrid unit, armored, armor-piercing, and decent melee combatant. Missile unit number 4 is the Elite Ice Guard, who function as bow and dual sword infantry. They have the characteristics hybrid unit, anti-infantry, and frostbite. Missile infantry unit number 5 is the Ice Guard again, except this time they are bow and glaive infantry. This group of Ice Guard warriors have the characteristics hybrid unit, armor piercing, anti-large, and frostbite. With the bow and gun wielding infantry out of the way, let us proceed to the Cavalry of Kislev. The first cab unit we have are the lightly armored Kossovite dervishes, who are very fast and have the ability of vanguard deployment. Next are the winged lancers. They are essentially Warhammer Fantasy winged hussars. This unit serves as shock cavalry, and they have the attributes armored and shielded and anti-infantry. Cavalry unit number 3 is the Griffin Legion, who are winged lancers but cooler. They are shock cavalry and have the characteristics armored and shielded and anti-infantry. Last but not least are the War Bear Riders. They are unsurprisingly bear cavalry, who have the attributes armored, armor-piercing, and anti-large. We're done with the cavalry proper. Let's move on to the missile cavalry and chariots. First, we have the horse archers. These bow-wielding riders have the characteristics decent melee combatant, very fast, vanguard deployment, and fire while moving. Here is a chariot unit, kind of. These are light war sleds. They can be described as sleds filled with musket-wielding soldiers pulled by bears. This type of unit is classified as a missile sled, and they have the attributes armored, armor-piercing, anti-infantry, and collision attacks. Next are the heavy war sleds. They are like their lighter counterparts, except they are more beefier. In terms of characteristics, they have armored, armor-piercing, anti-infantry, and collision attacks. Moving on, let's take a look at Kislev's artillery, shall we? The only kind of artillery Kislev has in its roster is the piece of siege artillery known as Little Grom. It has the attributes armored, armor-piercing, and collision attacks. The next units we are going to see are the monsters and beasts of Kislev. First, we have the Snow Leopard. This feline war beast is very fast, anti-large, and is considered armor-piercing. Monster and Beast unit number 2 is the Elemental Bear. This slow, massive creature is a tank, and it has the characteristics armored, armor-piercing, causes terror, and unbreakable. With no more ice cats or giant frost bears to look at, let's check out the heroes of Kislev. First, there is the Patriarch. This guy can use battle prayers or something like that. He doesn't seem like the type of unit you'd use in direct combat, as he appears to be more useful in a support role. The second hero Kislev has is the Frost Maiden, who uses the lure of ice. It's essentially ice magic. She is a spell caster. Hero unit number 3 is yet another Frost Maiden wizard. This spellcaster specializes in the lure of Tempest, which is a lure magic that is like the lure of ice, except it has more cold winds in it, I guess. I have saved the best for last. That's right, the Lords. These are the people who command the armies of Kislev. By the way, you know how at the start I mentioned there was going to be one unit that wouldn't be seen in this video? Well, that guy is a lord named Boris Ursus. He's not going to be here because I haven't unlocked him yet, unfortunately. Lord number 1 is the Boyar, who is classified as a type of axe infantry. This man is armored and is very good against infantry. Next up is our first legendary lord and lord number 2, Castalton. In the campaign, he leads the Great Orthodoxy faction. He is considered a patriarch who has the characteristics battle prayers, armor piercing, frenzy, and flaming attacks. Lord number 3 is a ice witch who uses the lure of ice. She is a spellcaster. The fourth lord, like the third one, is an ice witch. Instead of the lure of ice, this spellcaster specializes in the lure of tempest. The last lord we will talk about is Tsarina Katarin, who is a legendary lord. She leads the Ice Court faction in the campaign. She is a wizard who uses the lure of ice and is also a decent melee combatant. That's everything the roster of Kislev in Total War Warhammer 3 has to offer. Which unit do you like the best? Tell me in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe.